Hi everyone. Today I need to make a thank you card for a friend and I wanted to do something special. So I'm going to be doing the dry embossing folder technique. And for this technique I am going to be using Centura pearl cardstock. So I've chosen the Villainous Potion in the Distress Oxides, Mowed Lawn and Bundled Sage. I've got a brush and some daubers. The embossing folder I'm using is from Crafter's Companion and it's called the Nature's Garden. So that's the embossing folder that I'm going to be using. So I've got a couple of options with this stamp set. I've got this thank you and I've got another thank you down there, so I'll decide which one I'm going to use when I get to that stage. I've got a piece of copy paper, I've got a piece of purple cardstock and 2 pieces of Centura pearl cardstock. Now this first piece I need to cut down, so I'm going to cut this down. Just measure the width of whatever embossing folder you're using, and this one is 5 inches. So I'm actually going to cut this down, I think, to 6 inches. Pop that piece over there. So that's the cardstock cut down ready. I'm going to take in my embossing folder and you'll find one side is raised and this is what we call the embossed side. So if you run your nail across, you get resistance. That's the embossed side. And I want to be working on the debossed side. I'm going to take in the bundled sage and I'm going to load up my brush and I'm going to go all over the debossed side. I'm not picking out anything, I'm just going all over. You'll get a nice bit of ink all over that embossing folder, and what this actually does is creates the background. So the background is inked up as well as the foreground, and it's all done in one go, which is a bonus. So get a nice bit of ink all over. We can always go back over with more later. Then I'm going to take in the Mowed Lawn, and for this now I'm going to use a dauber, and I'm just going to pick out some of those leaves. Try and get as many of those leaves as you can. It doesn't matter if you go over the edge slightly. Try not to go over too much, but slightly is not a problem, and I'm not even worried if I don't get all the leaves. So there's some leaves there, and I think there's one there, stem there I can see. I will get that one. There we go. So that's all I want to do with the Mowed Lawn. Then I'm going to take in the Villainous Potion, load up my brush, and I'm just going to go over these florals, not overly worrying if I go over slightly. I am going to try and make the centers a bit darker. And we've got this floral. Make that center a bit darker. There's another one just there. I love this technique. I prefer this to the water effect technique, especially if it's done on Centura pearl cardstock or any pearl cardstock. Just make that a bit darker. There we go. So that's those done. Then I am going to take back in the bundled sage, and I'm going to take in a small dauber this time. And I'm just going to go slightly around all the edges. And what this will do is anywhere that you've gone slightly over, it will just dull it down a little bit so that you haven't got that really harsh line. And again, not worrying too much. When you're doing this, you will see where you think you need to put a tiny bit of the base colour. And then we can take back in our big brush and we can go all the way over this open area again. And I can see that I've missed quite a few leaves, but I'm happy with that because that's all going to add to the contrast. I'm going to take in my piece of Centura pearl cardstock. I'm going to lay that over the top. I'm going to take in my plates. And I'm just going to run this through my embossing machine. There we go. Just pop that back to one side. And then when we open this up and turn this over, we've got this really, really beautifully 3D embossed. You've got 3 different colours going on. So you've got 2 shades of green and you've got the purple florals, and it just shines. The glimmer on it is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it is beautiful. So that's our topper. I didn't want to do the watercolour effect today, so I'm just going to give this a good clean off. I know it seems a waste, but this technique wouldn't work on Centura pearl cardstock if you watered it down. The cardstock's too shiny to take the ink. There we go. So I'm going to take in my paper trimmer and I'm just going to cut this down, get this as close as possible. There we go. I'm going to be making a 5x7 card, so this piece I need to be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then if I take in my A4 piece of Centura pearl, I'm going to cut this down to 10 inches by 7 inches. So that's all we need for that at the moment. Then I'm going to take in my scoreboard. For this piece, I'm going to butt it right up to the edge. I'm going to score this down at 5 inches. I'm going to turn my cardstock over and I'm going to give that a really, really nice burnish. So that's our card base. Okay, so we've got our card base, we've got our matte layer, and we've got our image. So the image I'm going to glue to the matte layer. The first thing I want to do, if you watch my videos, you'll know that I really don't like white core on colour card. So I'm just going to go all the way around the edge with the Villainous Potion. Now you can use your alcohol pens to run around the edge, but as we've got the ink out, I thought I'd use the ink. And it just makes your cardstock look a lot nicer. So I'm going to take in my topper. I'm going to run a nice bit of glue all around the outside. I'm going to put some through the middle. And I'm going to basically, what is the same top and bottom should be the same as the side. I'm just going to give that a nice press down. And there we've got our beautiful topper that way around. And then this is going to sit on top, and I'm just going to glue this one down as well. So a nice bit of glue all the way around the edges. Normally when you make a thank you card for somebody, it's usually just like a little note card size. But I really wanted to make this a little bit more special. So get that nicely lined up. Turn that over. And there we've got our really pretty card. Now, I don't want to put a sentiment on the front of this because I don't want to spoil the look of the pearl cardstock and all the beautiful embossing. So what I thought I would do is I would make an insert. So I'm taking a piece of copy paper, which I'm just going to fold in half. Now I know my card is 5 by 7, so I'm going to cut this down to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. I'm going to open this up, and you're really better off doing your stamping before you pop it into the card in case you mess up. Not saying you will, but it happens to the best of us. And I'm going to use the thank you. Just get that on there as straight as possible. And for this I am going to use the VersaFine Onyx Black. And get your cardstock nice and straight. Because we've already cut the size that we want, we can place this now wherever we want to. Whereas if you'd have stamped it before you cut it, it would have been, it most probably wouldn't have been where you wanted it to go. So that I'm going to pop just there. So that says thank you. I'm going to give my stamp a good clean off. Wait for a couple of seconds for that to dry. And how I like to adhere mine is using double-sided tape. So this isn't foam tape, this is just flat double-sided tape. So if you close this over, so the opposite side of here is the sentiment, just rotate that towards yourself. Run a strip of double-sided tape just down there. Give this a really nice burnish down. Taking in your pokey tool, and we're just going to lift off this. Always check that you've got it the right way around. And if you hold your card up like this, pop your piece of copy paper right up to the score line. Same distance, top and bottom. Let that fall. And then now you've got your insert in your card. How lovely is that? So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you've learned something new. This is the dry embossing technique, and you can really play around with colours and have some real fun with this. As long as you go around the edges with your very first base colour that you started with, you should get some nice crisp images. Anyway, hope you enjoyed my little video. Hope you've learned something. Thank you for watching, and until the next time, bye for now.